Thalisse, Humans and Spirits versus Aragorn, Talrand and Commodore. One lander, easy mulligan. Into a 3-lander with both of our colours, and we've got enough for Dark Prophecy thanks to the Urborg, so keep this. Talrand gets down a turn 1 Soul Ring into the Arcane Signet, so probably a turn 2 commander. Borrow Signet followed by that turn 2 Talrand the Sky Summoner. Can probably play a cantrip into it straight away. No, it's Relic of Progenitus instead. A turn 1 Soul Ring from the Aragorn player deals with the Talrand soon enough. Relic of Progenitus prematurely went after the Swords to Plowshares, but nothing else was going to end up in the bin anyway as it happens. Oath of Gideon makes a couple of tokens. Chemist's Insight for the blue player, so it looks as though he was missing a land drop to get his commander down again. Thought Vessel for the Jeskai player. Denethor is a means of us making some more human tokens, but we need to see them die first for that, so let's start things off with the Sandstep Outcast. Can't remember if I mentioned it, but this is Humans and Spirits, this deck. Decided to do something a bit different and mash some different tribes together. Now when this enters, it can make a spirit for us, which is what we'll do. Commodore just passes the turn over, didn't have any mana apparently, and that is a Fairy Mastermind. Played at instant speed at the end of his turn. So down comes Talrand again on turn 4 after being successfully slowed down quite nicely. Still waiting on that cantrip that he might have though. Sunset Revelry. So he definitely got the human tokens from that, he gained the 4 life, and the other thing is a card draw. He's got 5 cards in hand, don't know if he just drew off that. Then Shared Animosity for the mono tribal deck. Obviously can't use something like that in this list because we've got 2 tribes to worry about. Could still work with a bunch of spirits in play though. Alright, so I don't want to... if we draw into another land next turn, we could go Dark Prophecy and the Shadow Summoning. I don't really want to sacrifice anything into Yawgmoth, but if it guarantees us a land, it might be worth doing. And it could be worth getting rid of this before it gets out of hand. So let's go Yawgmoth. Alright, Path to Exile immediately. Onto this. Again, seems very hasty. So go after the Fairy Mastermind, sacrifice the human. I'll leave the spirit alone if we can get into a land here. And there we go, draw into a Ganjo, so we'll leave the spirit alone. Like I said, we'll get into another land with the path here anyway. It might be that we lose Urborg, so while we've got all the black mana we need, if we lose Urborg then we won't, so I'll still go for a swamp here. The relic is going to persistently keep things exiled, goes after the path this time. It's noteworthy that that could switch off the otherworldly escort as well. When it dies, if it's not a spirit, return it to the battlefield. You obviously can't return it if it gets exiled at instant speed. Kira, the Great Glass Spinner, comes down just a little bit too late to protect the fairy. Mindstone. Vanquisher's Banner, gonna give a buff to the humans. Priority being held up by the blue player the whole time, so might be that our Thalisse gets countered here. I'm thinking that we set up Thalisse before going for the token generators for obvious reasons. Doesn't swing in with the humans, they're 2/2s that would get further buffed by this, and he didn't swing with them. There's not that much scary on the board. I would have gone at the blue player personally. Big Game Hunter doesn't see any big creatures at the moment. Let's attempt to get down our commander. The blue players decide to let it down. Drop a Ganjo and pass. Chandra can Flame Slash something, so probably goes on Thalisse. Surprisingly doesn't go for the Flame Slash, goes for the mana instead. Decided to discard Unravel in order to jumpstart the Chemist's Insight. So the blue player has 5 cards in hand and plenty of mana. Obviously made the Drake token for the first time. Oh, I didn't know this had finally come on to Magic Online. I built a deck for this way back when, but wasn't available for whatever reason. Decides to draw the second card with the Mind Stone. So that triggers Alandra for a Drake token. Case of the Ransacked Lab. He is going to discount instants and sorceries. And then when he eventually solves this, it will make every instant and sorcery cantrip. And then a couple of flyers go in at Chandra. Lossonot Captain. Whenever a human enters, tap a creature an opponent controls and you make humans with it. Gets to draw with the Vanquisher's Banner as well. Decides to tap down our commander. And Relic of Progenitus gets rid of our Sandstep Outcast, so doesn't look as though we're going to be able to make use of Dawn this game. And swings in at us, totally ignoring the Chandra for some reason. So a couple of 3/2s we take the damage for, going down to 33. A Selfless Spirit to keep our stuff in play. We could have done with another land. I definitely want Dark Prophecy in. So I think we just have to risk losing our stuff. go for the shadow summoning and the dark prophecy here. So those come into play tapped, but the ones from our commander are going to come into play untapped. I'm not all that willing to tap down my flyer here, because there's plenty of drakes and they could get buffed and swing in towards us. We might need a chump block. We can't get rid of Chandra either way, and it can't -4 on us, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Adds mana with Chandra again, and then throws out a Kazul as well, so be a bit more difficult to turn in towards him. So this is where we get punished for leaving that Chandra in play. At least we've got a big creature to knock down with the big game hunter next turn though. Relic of Progenitus decided to give up on that entirely, so exiles all cards from all graveyards in order to draw. Maybe he didn't like what was in his hand, so switches our escort back on. Decides on throwing the drakes in towards Chandra to deal with it. We have to do that regardless, I think. So trading it out for a couple of ogres. Okay, looks as though he might be paying the tax on at least one of them though. Liquimetal Torque, a mana rock that can turn something into an artifact. And blue does have artifact removal for some reason. A human token, made by the captain at the beginning of the turn, so can tap something down. And goes after our Thalisse again, so you can see where this guy's looking. Boromir for the human player. When it enters or attacks, look at the top 6. You may reveal a human or artifact and put it into hand. And continuing to focus on us, so if we can, we're going to have to blow this up with the big game hunter. He's bringing it on himself. And then a fall from favour. The enchanted creature doesn't untap. I mean, we're not looking to really attack or block with this anyway. It's the ability that we want. But he does become the monarch with that, which we can easily steal away from him. So is this just a massive amount of damage in towards us? Looks like it. +3/+3 on all of his stuff, thanks to the shared animosity. So we've got a couple of 4/2s and a 6/2. That's first strike though. So do we just have to give up on a couple of tokens here, unfortunately? We'll get to draw at least. So we're just going to take the 4 damage. And that draws us into Adeline, which does not have to swing in, so we can steal the monarch away from this guy with a flyer and make some humans while we're at it. Okay, and that got us into plains. We got to clear a couple of cards off the top to get into that land, so that's good. This thing's still a 4/2, so I think we definitely want to go big game hunter onto that. Like I said, I was looking over at the Kazul, but our opponents made it an impossible decision for us. Still haven't seen any counter magic from the blue player, thankfully. So let's risk taking 1 damage in. This could give everyone else an excuse to swing at us to take the monarchy, but it might be that they're all looking towards us anyhow, and hopefully we'll have enough chump blockers thanks to that Adeline draw. Only problem is board wipes start to look scary when we've got the Dark Prophecy in play. So bunch of humans enter, each one attacking a different player, which means it's more card draw for us most likely. I did have a couple of Soul Sisters in here because that's obviously quite thematic. It might be worth putting those back in. I did cut them at the last second. Alright, the other human gets through, so we're only losing 2 and drawing 2. All our opponents are at or above their starting life total. We're down to 25 already. As the Ophiomancer could help keep stuff away from us with its Death Touch Snake. I allowed myself 1 token producer that didn't make a human or a spirit. And so Thalisse is still in play even though it's been put to sleep, so make some spirit tokens at the end of the turn. And we are the monarch, so we draw at the end of the turn as well. We'll have to discard here. We now have a 10/4 Adeline in play as well. I think we're drawing enough cards and losing enough life here, so I'll discard the Sign in Blood to hand size. Commodore Guff comes down for the first time. Decides to plus on that and make a wizard token, so up to 7 loyalty. River's Rebuke is pointed at us. It's not going to be our game. It's a good excuse for us to, assuming our opponent's creatures get buffed enough, which the drakes aren't at the moment, unfortunately, but it'd be a good excuse to get the wrath going. Kira comes in at us to steal the monarchy, and then the other 3 are in at Commodore. Commodore left out 1 loyalty and draws a card at the end, thanks to the monarchy, which is the second card of the turn, so Alandra will make a Drake token. Doesn't look as though the board wipe that we've got in hand is going to be all that useful though. An austere command for artifacts and small creatures would be good though. Aragorn draws a card and comes into play for the first time. Combat Celebrant can get multiple combats. So Boromir swings in towards us. I dare say everything's going to, yep. So +4/+4 on everything. We probably don't last another turn cycle unless we can draw into austere command. And so we plummet down to 1. The client's going a bit weird, so I can't see the power and toughness of stuff, but you can work it out. Now we draw into Swords to Plowshares after holding up a single white mana all game. No idea what the client's doing here. But yeah, now we've drawn into it. A bit too late. So it'd be good to go for Ophiomancer. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point, we've already lost. But it'd be good to go Ophiomancer, get down the Death Touch token to hold some stuff back. Although one flyer can take us out. Problem is Aragorn is going to keep us from blocking with that Death Toucher. So then you'd have to go Big Game Hunter to deal with that. But like I said, it doesn't really matter what we do here. Especially if the client stops working. Alright, I've just restarted the client because of the way it's behaving here. Looks as though this guy, the Jeskai player, has decided to scoop. Ophiomancer makes the snake for the first time. High Tide doubles up the islands. Treasure Cruise draws 3 cards, which makes a Drake with the commander. Then it will make another one with Alandra. 2 more instants or sorceries will solve the case here as well. The Drake tokens are going into the right, and he isn't attacking us to take us out because he imagines that the tunnel vision will continue here, so Aragorn should be able to get through to us for lethal. Coppercoat Vanguard gives a buff to humans as well as Ward 1. Riders of Rohan. Whenever it enters, create a couple of human knights. Surprisingly, everything is swinging into the left here, so now they're leaving us alone. And yeah, swung everything in at the blue player who casts Ether Spouts in response. So everything is going to go on top of the library, and looks as though Talrand is looking to win this one, which should surprise absolutely nobody. It was obvious he was looking really strong right from turn 1. Delny Streetwise Lookout. Not sure that's going to be too useful to us at the moment. It will give us 2 Big Game Hunter triggers, 2 Ophiomancer Snakes maybe, but there's nothing we can blow up with Big Game Hunter anyway. Well, apart from that. So I think it's Adeline, Selfless Spirit, Swords to Plowshares, and the Delny this turn. Blue player holding up priority for us again. And then we have to attack in order to get the trigger here. The trigger from Adeline. So I'll just take a spirit into the right. Adeline only makes a couple of human tokens, but both of those get through. Our opponents decide to allow them, so we get to take the monarchy, which means we draw another card. And then Thalisse going to make some more tokens for us, as it does at the end of every end step, which is good because the Ophiomancer is going to make its tokens during the other player's turn. Now we draw into Anointed Procession. You're getting to see how the list looks and plays at least. I haven't exactly done too well here though. 2 Ophiomancers, thanks to the Delny, and that buffs Adeline up to an 11-4, so we might be able to survive another turn cycle if we manage to surprise them with the Swords to Plowshares. And Inundate, return all non-blue creatures to their owner's hands. Yeah, so we can exile this and gain the life, but then they can just dedicate more to us. I was hoping they were going to just swing in with just enough to get rid of us, and then we could surprise them by gaining life. Might as well just get rid of Adeline now and make him get rid of us. Or maybe we make him use some of his counter magic here. So we go up to 12, and looks as though enough damage is being placed on us in order to get rid of us, I would assume. So all these are going into the right. We're only taking 1 hit from the blue player seemingly in order to grab that monarchy. So he's giving us more time to catch up. We're down to 10, the humans player is down to 7. Drew another card into the other legend, not where the Aragorn, after being bounced, did end up back in the command zone. The humans player does know what he's drawing back into, so Boromir will dig him a bit deeper thanks to the Vanquisher's banner. He could put a card on the bottom with the Path of Ancestry as well. Let's see what we can do here now. A Voice of Victory won't do anything for us. So once again the Drake player can just take us out whenever he wants. Funny that we've had a useless board wipe for multiple turns now in hand. I think we go for Death Touch Ophiomancer again. Maybe set up with Anointed Procession. A Shark Typhoon being cycled. Putting 2 into X on that. And the Jeskai player's holding up mana, so there might be some kind of mass bounce that saves us. He just seemed to be focusing on taking both of us out at once, which he probably should do while he's got the chance. Swinging him with way more stuff than he needs to, so he hasn't learnt from his own lesson there of Ether Spouts. I mean, the human player could have Ether Spouts as well, but he might have counter magic for it, I suppose. There's a Selfless Squire. So prevents all the damage that will be dealt to you. That doesn't save us, unfortunately, but we've had a few extra turns that maybe we shouldn't have done already. So is the Squire going to be big enough for one shot in the blue player now that he's totally tapped out? He did tap down some mana there. I'm not sure if he's going to counter or something. There's a Cryptic Command. so he's able to tap down all our spirits if he wanted to, but it's just counter and draw in this instance. So we'll make a couple of drakes to his 2 legends. And there we go, to the surprise of no one, the Talran player wins that convincingly. Very strange game that one, but at least we got to have a look at how this humans and spirits deck functions. Didn't really get into all that much ramp, and obviously we couldn't keep our board intact either. It's a creature based deck, so you're always going to struggle against multiple board wipes in a game. But if you're interested, as ever, the deck list is in the description. You can go and have a look at it there, along with the link to Patreon if you'd like to support the channel financially. Big thank you to the very few of you who do that already. I'm Tribalkai. Thank you for watching.